behind, so that it carries forth and people do all the good that others have been doing currently, whether they are doing it in the field of education or in the field of community development. So hopefully we want to promote this a lot. What benefits we get out of storytelling. So I'll tell you why we should tell stories, number one. Then I'll tell you a story, a couple of stories. In fact, I'll tell you a large one, and then you look into that large story. You look into the large story and find out the blocks that build the story. Find out the elements that build the story. And I'll conclude after I have transferred the block building technique to you. And then we'll have three stories told to us by professional storytellers. I tell you, when I found out that these people are going to be on the program, I started becoming nervous like 8 weeks ago. Father Peralta over there was coming up. I tell you, oof, amazing. When he tells a story, it's like, you want to go and hug and kiss him, you know, but again, I'm amazed I wouldn't do that. Yeah. And Melody over here, she said, where's she gone? Where's Melody? Oh, that's not Melody, this is Veena. Melody was a lady in black who, I forget certain sections of the story, it will be alright. Because it's circular, it has no shape. But we'll talk about that later. So let me tell you that story. Once upon a time, they all start like that. Once upon a time. Many, many years ago, in a land far, far away. Where's Melody? Melody, this is your job. So once upon a time, long time ago, in a land far, far away called Jerusalem, there lived two women. They were really beautiful. They were Miss Jerusalem 2010 and Miss Jerusalem 2010. They were really beautiful. Of course, I'm talking of a few centuries ago. So they were really beautiful, but as happens to beauty, over time, their beauty began to fade. They began to age. But they were friends, they knew each other, they sometimes used to exchange stories and notes about how to become beautiful. And one day they said, you know what, it's been a while since we have been appreciated and applauded for our beauty. Let's go out into the town of Jerusalem and find out if we are still beautiful. So, girl number one, lady number one says to lady number two, okay, I agree, it's a good thing to do. No? Once in a while you need to do that. You need to go out into the world and find out if you are still the same person. You might be somebody else. So they said, all right, we'll go out into the high street of Port Bonifacio in Jerusalem. You go out into the high street of Port Bonifacio and then you walk down the street and see what people have to say to you. You see a breeze. So both of them, you know, they dress up in their Sunday best and they go up to Port Bonifacio in Senetra, in Taguig, and they go up and they said, you first. So they flip a coin. No, they do, what do you do in Tagalog? Bato. Yeah, bato, papel, gunting, etc. And so one of them has to go. And she said, okay, I'll go first. So she goes up on the ramp, this one which I just built, and she goes up on the ramp and she walks through High Street. And then people kind of don't give her the attention that she used to get before. No? So she gets a little bit nervous, she gets a little bit desperate, and she goes back and she removes a piece of her clothing. She takes it off and throws it on the ground and she walks some more. And this time around, when people look at her, they turn away slightly. So now she gets a little more desperate. Thus she gets a little more bolder. She got a little bit bolder a while ago, and she gets a little bit more bolder. That's wrong English, no? So what she does, she just removes another piece of her clothing. She throws it on the ground, and this time she clickety down High Street. And this time people turn away and go, yes, ouch, bang it, kabiri, you know? Of course in Jerusalem they spoke Tagalog, don't they? And she gets really desperate. That means this time she's at her boldest. Now, I don't want to show you what she does, but she goes up the ramp one more time, and this time when she walks down High Street, people leave the streets, people close their offices, and put down, the Nike shop shuts down, and Shaky shuts down, and people leave Port Bonifacio and go away for good. And she comes back to the other beautiful friend of hers, and she says, you know what, I'm devastated. This is terrible. This can never happen to me. When I was young, this did not happen. And the other lady says, okay, you step aside. It's my turn. It's my turn to go out on the High Street. And of course, when she steps out, all the shutters go up and people open the window. What she does is, she puts on a nice colorful coat, like Joseph's. Yeah, a technicolor coat, she puts that on. She puts some feathers, she puts a flower here, she wears a few jingle bells there, she has a nice purse from Louis Vuitton. You know, those days in Jerusalem they had those. And she walks down and she's singing and dancing and singing and dancing. And all people, they say, whoa, that's great. So they open their shops, they open their windows, children come running, birds come over, butterflies come down, and flowers start popping from everywhere. And people go, wow, ganda naman, so beautiful you are. And she comes back to her friend. Both of them have a conversation. They say, there's a difference between you and me. 2010, 2011, not much of a difference between the time when they won the beauty contest, no? What? The underlying story in this story is that the first one was called Truth. And the second one was called Story. The name of the first lady who went out and became bold, bolder and boldest, her name was Truth. So when she became totally naked, people turned around, it did not pay her attention. But when you wrap Truth in a nice colorful coat with flowers, birds, bees and flowers, people appreciate it. That's the power of story. Of course, the nice lady gave her the technicolor coat and she stepped out too on high street with that colorful coat and she became happy too. That's the power behind storytelling. Did you like that? Yeah. Okay, now, so when I'm pretending to me? All right. God help me. So one day, was it one day or there was no day that time? He said, let there be light. He didn't say let there be sun, he said let there be light and there was light. And then he divided the space into the skies and into the zoom. And he filled the skies with blue and the oceans with green and water, and they were moving and moving and moving. And the sky was nice and blue and bright. Then he said, let's separate the earth from the water. And he did, zoom, zoom. The earth and the water separated, and mountains came up, and hills came up, and valleys came down, and rivers and lakes, they all started to move around. And then he said, let there be the sun. And then he said, well, that lights up the day, and in the night when the sun rests, let there be. Ooh. And he looked around it and he said, that was good. And he said, now let there be some shrubbery and trees and stuff, etc. Yeah, they're all moving, they're all active, they haven't stopped, they go on, go on. And then he looked at the oceans and he said, wow, these waters look empty. Let's put in fish and stuff inside, and they started to come alive. Ooh. And then he said, whoa, the sky was sprinkling nice by the day, and he didn't by the night. And he said, let there be. Keep on going on. He said, whoa, the land looks nice and good. There are trees and there's fishes in the ocean. And let there be hundreds of kinds of animals. And then he looked at it and he said, whoa, this is beautiful. I need somebody to enjoy this. And he said, let there be a man. Somebody hello. Then he said, let there be Adam. And then he said, well, he looks a bit lonely. Let me give him a companion called Eva.